Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Kaushik and I'm a medical student from Singapore. So in this video, I wanted to talk about a disease that I practically come across every single day. Chances are you already know someone with diabetes, if you yourself don't have it. It's a disease that is so damn prevalent and it affects almost 500 million people worldwide. If people with this disease were a country, it would be the third largest country in the world, and that's insane. I know that most of you are in your 20s and diabetes is probably the least of your concerns right now, and that's very understandable. But the thing about diabetes is that it's a slow disease that takes decades to develop, and it's the habits that you have in your 20s that goes on to define your health in your 40s and 50s and much later in life. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 simple rules to follow to stay clear of diabetes and recruit you on my side on the war against diabetes. There are 2 main reasons why you should pay attention to this video. Number 1, because of how common diabetes is and how it literally affects every single organ in your body. It's a disease that takes away years from your life and life away from your years. And number 2, more importantly, because diabetes is a lifestyle disease that can be totally prevented, and it can even be reversed with good lifestyle modification. Diabetes is a disease that is classically characterized by having too much sugar in your blood. And there are 2 main types of diabetes. Type 1 is usually due to genetic causes, and you will be diagnosed with it very early on in life, probably before even your 10th birthday. Whereas type 2 diabetes is what most of us are familiar with, and that is usually diagnosed in adulthood. That being said, there's little that we can do to prevent type 1 diabetes at the moment, but type 2 diabetes on the other hand is totally preventable. Because the modern diet contains so much refined sugar and processed foods, we are finding more and more people across the spectrum being diagnosed with diabetes. This is not a disease to be celebrated, but one that should be avoided at all costs because of the terrible consequences it has on your body. Without going too much into the detail, all you need to know is that diabetes is a disease that affects all blood vessels, and since you have blood vessels all across the body, it will affect almost every single function. Broadly speaking, we categorize the complications into big vessel complications and small vessel complications. The organs that are supplied by big blood vessels, like your brain, heart, and your legs, can get badly affected, and this can lead to strokes, heart attacks, and even leg amputations. At the same time, diabetes also affects the small blood vessels that are found in your eyes, your kidneys, and your nerves, which is why so many diabetes patients have eye problems, kidney failures, and lose sensation on their feet. On top of that, diabetes also affects the immune system, leaving one vulnerable to infections, which is why people with diabetes are more likely to have serious complications from COVID-19 than others. It makes me really sad to see family members and patients suffer from these complications every day, and I really would not wish diabetes on the worst of my enemies. Hopefully this has made you realize that diabetes is not fun at all, and it is actually a terrible, terrible disease. But with that being said, it's not all doom and gloom because, as I told you before, diabetes is a lifestyle disease that can be totally prevented. Follow these 5 rules and you can significantly lower your chances of getting diabetes. Rule number 1, avoid fructose. Fructose is a type of sugar, just like glucose and lactose, but unfortunately our body can't digest it as well as other sugars. The liver is the only organ in the body that can metabolize fructose, and by eating foods that are rich in fructose, we are overworking the liver to store the excess sugar, and this leads to a fatty liver disease. This leads to weight gain, obesity, and a vicious cycle that leads to diabetes. It's also dangerous because those with a fatty liver may actually be skinny, and there will be no external appearance of them being ill. Fructose, especially that found in high fructose corn syrup, is used as a sugar replacement in processed foods like cereals. It is cheaper than sugar, so obviously food companies that are trying to maximize their profits will try to use them. When you buy anything, look at the ingredient list, and if you see anything like corn syrup, fructose syrup, or high fructose corn syrup, drop it down and stay away from consuming it. Rule number 2, reduce refined carbohydrates. Carbohydrates in general are not bad for you, and unfortunately they get a really bad stick these days because of diets like the keto diet. Humans have been consuming carbohydrates for thousands of years, and there's no reason why we should stop now. But the difference between the carbohydrates that we consume and the carbohydrates that our ancestors used to consume is that they didn't used to be refined. They ate brown rice and not white rice because they didn't have milling technology. Refined carbohydrates are found in white rice, white breads, white flour, and cereals. Removing the natural fats, protein, and other nutrients that are important in the digestion of carbohydrates is not natural, and our bodies have not quite evolved to handle that change. You should be eating whole carbohydrates like brown rice. These are good for your body, and this is the healthier alternative. That being said, when you're eating whole carbohydrates, it's important to make sure that you're eating it with good fats. Avoid fats from industrially processed, highly refined seed oils because this can cause chronic inflammation in the body. Oils such as sunflower oil, canola oil, and vegetable oils all belong to this category. Also, avoid deep fried food because they release a harmful chemical called aldehyde when it's heated. Rule number 3, eat real food. A simple rule to go by is that if the food you're eating looks like how it does in nature, it is probably good for you. After all, you don't pick donuts or potato chips from the tree, and you certainly don't grow a bottle of vegetable oil. So if the food that you're eating occurs naturally, like fruits, vegetables, fresh meat, and seafood, this is probably the better choice for you. Another rule of thumb is to stick to buying groceries from only the perimeter of the supermarket. In the middle aisles, you will find all the processed foods, and that's an easy way to stay clear of them. According to multiple studies, a whole food, predominantly plant-based diet is the diet that seems to best prevent and reverse diabetes. Hence why the Mediterranean and Japanese diet seems to have the best long-term outcomes because they both contain very little added sugars and added fats. Rule number 4, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is the oldest dietary intervention known to mankind, and it still exists because it's effective. Its natural cleansing powers has been harnessed by almost all religions and cultures across the world. It is free and it can be done anywhere. Fasting gives your body a break from digesting food, and this is very important because the most crucial processes in your body can only take place when you're not eating. When you're driving, you can't refuel your car and drive at the same time. For starters, eat only when the sun is out. So from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. you can eat, and this gives your body 12 hours where it's not digesting any food. Slowly you can increase the 12 hours to 14 hours to 16 hours or even more. The ideal sweet spot for me is 16 hours, with my eating window being from 12 noon to 8 p.m. There are so many benefits to fasting that I will be making a separate video on it in the future, so do stay tuned for that. Rule number 5, exercise. This really shouldn't come as a surprise for many of you. Studies have shown that even just 30 minutes of walking a day combined with a good whole food diet can reduce your chance of developing diabetes by a whopping 60%. Doing aerobic exercises like walking, jogging, swimming, and cycling, together with some strength training like weightlifting, calisthenics, and resistance band exercises, has shown to have a lot of health benefits. With exercise, you can improve your weight control, your immunity, your sleep, your energy levels, and your sex life, on top of preventing chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension. If you are looking for a magic pill to improve all these health issues, exercise is the one pill that I would prescribe. There really isn't any excuse for why you shouldn't be exercising, because the evidence for how exercise improves every aspect of your life is overwhelmingly clear, and it really will help you to improve your life. Prevention is really better than cure, especially for a disease like diabetes, which can be so easily prevented with the right lifestyle. I hope you liked this video. If you did, share this with your friends who might benefit from this as well. Also, like, comment, subscribe, and all to please the algorithm gods. Until next week,